Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're into game two. I'm Llama Down Under, joined by the Wonder Cow, and Rebels took that first game in a pretty dang dominant fashion.
Yeah, that was faster than average. It was tighter than usual, and certainly more aggressive than we expected.
Virtus.Pro's turn to ban.
I, I mean, it
Dire
could be
team
a
ban.
case of VP need to ban the Tinker. I don't think you have space for it, but we're already seeing the effects of it. Beastmaster at the very least going to get banned out. I like how VP's like, look, we can't let that guy through. I think he's one of the strongest heroes right now. And Rebels go for the Bounty Hunter
10
ban.
seconds
I
remaining.
wouldn't be surprised if maybe they think it's time to get rid of the Doom. They didn't seem to have any
5
trouble with that
seconds
Enigma.
remaining.
Yeah, the Enigma was a non-issue. I think
Reserve time.
maybe Rebels want to grab that Doom again. Although I will say, I think Shocklow's Beastmaster was the playmaker of the game. The Doom was effective enough, right? All he
Virtus.Pro's
basically had to do
turn
was
to
get
pick.
that Doom out in a fight, and they would win. Because that would force a retreat, and as soon as the retreat started happening, Disruptor could pull somebody back, and Lifestealer could tear him apart. Um, we'll see if Virtus.Pro decide to pick Doom up. He is the
10
most
seconds remaining.
prioritized hero right now in terms of picks.
5 seconds
Although he's not the
remaining.
most picked, when he is picked highest up in the spectrum.
Dire team
So
pick.
Enigma going to be the play again from Virtus.Pro. Also still on the Radiant side. I really did not feel the impact of that Enigma at all last game.
I mean, the Doom did such a good job of shutting him down. There was nothing that he could do. I it just
10
felt
seconds
like
remaining.
they finally found a solution to junglers,
5
We've been
seconds
Yeah.
talking
remaining.
about it, how right now it does feel like you just have to ban people out. And it's like, nope. Or you can just pick Doom and sit in their jungle, and your
Dire
Doom still
team
gets
pick.
farm anyway because he just devours people occasionally.
Yeah, Doom is going to be the pick here. Great. Maybe Virtus.Pro decide to go for a faster support, get a Windlace, and be willing to move in with that Enigma to kill the Doom. Because
10
remember, Doom
seconds
is
remaining.
not the most survivable of all heroes in the early game, especially if
5
he goes for a
seconds
level 1
remaining.
Devour. His base armor is the second or third lowest in the game. If he doesn't happen to
Reserve
find a
time.
Wild Wing to eat, which he won't if he's trying to contest Enigma's farm because of the way that first camp that Enigma will move into works, um, Doom can't really take that much punishment level 1. So rotating an extra support into that jungle
Virtus
could
Pro's
turn
turn
that
to pick.
strategy around on Rebels, as opposed to the bounty hunter contest strategy, which is maybe slightly less aggressive but also harder to shut down because you can't see where he is.
Well, PP, Enigma again, and Rebels, they really like this Disruptor. I'm
10 seconds
interested that it
remaining.
came out this early. I think it's a very strong support. It's
5
just
seconds
one that
remaining.
has waned in popularity. Now right back in it, has so many excellent ways with
Reserve
dealing with the
time.
current bunch of offlaners that are popular.
Yeah, I, I really do think that Doom forcing the retreat and Disruptor using that kinetic field glimpse combination in order to get free kills off of that retreat basically won Rebels all of their team fights before, and good primal roars out of the Beastmaster did everything else, right? So team fights came down to this duo. The ganks and tower pushes really came down to the Beastmaster, and everything else was optional for Rebels last game.
Another
It worked really well. I don't see why they change it.
Another really interesting thing for me about VP's draft, obviously, Earth Spirit got nerfed a little bit, but I'm a little surprised. This Enigma pick makes it feel like they can't grab the Earth Spirit. They could, but it makes your lanes pretty weak, and it's something where VP they enjoy playing the Earth Spirit. It's not banned here, and that they can't
Dire
seem to
team
grab it
ban.
because of this first pick on the Enigma. It seems maybe problematic to their style.
Yeah, that is a very possible interpretation of what's going on. It also is maybe they are trying to steer away from that style of
10
composition just
seconds
because of
remaining.
the reduced efficacy of the Earth Spirit now. Um,
5 seconds
it's
remaining.
a little early for me to definitively say one way or the other. The Slardar are going to come out again for
Dire team
Virtus.Pro.
ban.
Really, both teams seem to be going more or less the way that they had been going. Rebels are going to get rid of the Alchemist, which I think is smart if they aren't going to run a Tinker again in the mid. That last game would have gone very differently if Alchemist had been able to contest that mid
10
lane.
seconds remaining.
Very true, and it might just be a
5
case of
seconds
VP
remaining.
need to make sure that they pick a stronger mid laner. Actually, Rebels get rid of the Alk,
Reserve time.
indicating they had no interest in playing against it. It may have been they felt forced into the Tinker, right, because of
Yeah.
the Alchemist. So
And that's possible. Or looking forward, they may just not want the Tinker again. Or maybe they thought that the Alchemist was closer to turning that game than it looked from the outside. You know, there are a lot of possibilities. Back on that Disruptor, just looked up the stats on that. At We Play, Disruptor was not picked that much. He was picked around 1 in 5 games, but he did have a 70% win rate. So certainly being picked by the teams that know what they're doing the most, and Rebels really showed why that was the case. Lone Druid again, the ban for Rebels here.
now, obviously Lone Druid, he's really strong right now. It could be safe lane it could be off lane. You've got lots of options. A couple teams do also run the Lone Druid
5
mid,
seconds remaining.
although VP, I don't know that I've seen them do it as much. It's actually kind of funny because
Reserve
VP
time.
banned the Lone Druid a lot themselves, although we don't have a lot of data for them on this patch, with all data
Yeah.
from last patch. They banned the Lone Druid a lot, like 30% of the time, but hey, if you can get your opponents to ban it for you, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Lone Druid
Dire
is one of
team
those
pick.
heroes that can really make a big game-breaking impact, especially if he gets off to a good early game start, because that means he'll window in the mid game when you really want to be knocking down towers. And remember, because towers are more difficult to knock down this patch, heroes that mid-game window and
10
also
seconds
siege
remaining.
towers well are coming in high priority. So it makes sense to get rid of heroes
5
like the
seconds
Alchemist, to get rid of
remaining.
heroes like the Lone Druid and the Enchantress, the Nature's Prophet, the Beastmaster, the Broodmother. Almost
Reserve
all of
time.
those heroes are heroes. Excuse me. Almost every hero that's been banned is a hero that windows in the mid game and also sieges towers well during that time. And it's really clear that this is coming in high priority for teams, not just here in the CIS, but really around the world.
Oh, okay. So I just made funny
Virtus.Pro
noises because Puck, this is something where Rebels had just been having a blast with it. Tame by Wild is fantastic on this hero. I've already got the Benny Hill music queued up because that's how he plays Puck. Yeah. He's just so slippery. It's fantastic to watch. Windrunner going to be going up for VP. It's really going to become a skill mid-match now that there's the Windrunner. Obviously, Puck can dodge
10
the
seconds
power
remaining.
shots, but Windrunner can also place them using high ground advantage, and vision.
5 seconds.
Try and shoot the puck anyway. Are you okay there?
I'm all right. Sometimes my
Reserve
mic
time.
starts to slip off my head. I'm used to using
yeah.
a tripod mic, but I'm not today.
worries.
So I'm
No
not,
worries,
not used to
Logan.
the headset. It's the headset, llama. Now I love Puck. I think we're gonna see a lot more Puck this patch.
Virtus.Pro's
He's already
turn
on the
to
rise. He is a hero that does a lot of mid-game work. He is extremely difficult to lock down. He's got good AoE control. He does well with minimal farm, and then he scales better now that the intelligence changes have made it so that Dagon will go into the late game a little bit better. I think we actually had this talk yesterday when we were casting the open qualifiers together. But for anybody who wasn't watching, just basically a recap on my opinion of Puck. I'm glad to be seeing more of him. I think he's a very fun hero to watch. I don't particularly love to play him or play against him, but in terms of spectator Dota, he's up there in terms of wild heroes.
Yeah,
So Sven going to be the pick for Rebels.
it's a solid pickup. I don't see anything. There's nothing wrong with the Sven here, and I think it takes advantage, obviously, of the Dream Coil into Stormhammer or vice versa. But just maybe not as exciting as the Puck. Hard to. It also fits nicely in the middle three heroes being blue. If they end with a red one, very good.
It's all about the color coding. As you know, as we both know, winning is really more about how you look than how you play. But Sven, another hero, especially as a carry, right, who fits this mid-game windowing strategy that 687 has really begun to fuel. He needs 2 items. It doesn't really matter which build you go as long as you get your first 2 core items relatively quickly. Often that is Sanj and Yasha and Helm of the Dominator, but there are other builds as well that might include a faster drums oriented decision to move into push, though I expect in 687 that's going to be less common. And then once you get those 2 items, Sven is out of the gate ready to go. He's not like one of these Spectres or anti-mages that or morphlings, right, that needs a
10
couple of
seconds
really
remaining.
big items before becoming super effective. He's ready to go
5
out of the gate pretty
seconds
quickly.
remaining.
Oh yeah, and apparently VP are on LAN. I don't know if you saw that. They all just DC'd and
Reserve
reconnected. They do have a team house, so I shouldn't be surprised by that. But I was pauses during the draft, not the most standard. So
Yeah, I didn't, I was not even entirely sure that you could pause during the draft, so look at that.
but
Um,
I like the Echo, obviously, so with Sven and some of the new items, a lot of people discussing, hey, is Echo Saber the right thing? Is Echo Saber... Echo Saber is like a really
I think it's a really
controversial
good item on him.
Yeah, I agree. It's like having that extra hit when you're in God Strength and with the Cleave does so much, and it's a pretty easy item to build up into.
Right, and the other thing is that Sven is a relatively low mana pool hero who really utilizes mana very effectively. He's got high mana to rewards payoff. So if you give him an item that gives him other utility and also gives him mana,
10
there's
seconds
really no
remaining.
reason not to go for it. Also, Sven not an agility hero. I've seen
5
some
seconds
toying
remaining.
around with that on agility heroes, but for agility heroes, it just makes more sense typically to go into
Dire
agility and
team
get
back.
enough extra attack speed that over the course of 5 seconds you'll get one extra attack, right? You only need 0.2 extra attack percentage per second to get to that point. But on strength heroes, you're not getting
10
the extra attack
seconds
damage
remaining.
from agility, and you'd much rather go into tanking up and getting the extra
5
attack
seconds
damage.
remaining.
So it makes a lot more sense to build an item that will give you a free attack rather than building into the attack speed
Reserve
itself.
time.
And it's just... Obviously, there are other things like the AC and like the Moonshot, which can really buff you up, but those come so much later, and they don't have that strength stat, so
Right.
it seems very valuable. Witch Doctor, VP, they really seem to like this hero, and they could round it out with Faceless Void again, that's still available, but it just felt like they didn't have enough damage last game.
Yeah, last game they ran this pseudo farming Slardar and it just got shut down, right? If they run the Faceless Void, that means they're going to basically be doing the same strategy that they did before, but
10
without the
seconds
safety net of the Alchemist Greevil's Greed. I imagine that they'll have
seconds
as
remaining.
much difficulty, if not more difficulty, executing it this time as they did last time. I'd really like to see that Slardar go off lane and like to see Virtus.Pro grab somebody who comes into the mid game a bit stronger than a Slardar, and really let that Slardar take an auxiliary role. Maybe somebody even like a Chaos Knight might be nice here to come into the mid game. In the
10
late game, Sven
seconds
does very
remaining.
well against him, but in the mid game, the burst damage to go through the puck and Disruptor and the
5
Doom
seconds
could be very
remaining.
effective.
It just doesn't feel like still VP. Yes, when okay,
They are going to go for the
yeah,
Void.
Yeah,
I just, if they couldn't execute it last time, I'm not sure. They apparently have the confidence that they're going to come in this game and do something differently.
I'm less worried about the execution. For me, it really just comes down to raw damage. Sven with the Warcry does buff
10
him up a lot
seconds
against
remaining.
both the Death Ward and, of course, all of Windrunner's damage. She might get a Maelstrom to add a little bit of
5
magical,
seconds
but
remaining.
she's mainly physical. The Witch Doctor, sure, you have Maledict, but the Death Ward is all physical. Enigma does have that Midnight Pulse, but again, these are things where early game, it's not a crap ton of damage, and
Yeah.
getting down the Sven, the Doom's another tanky hero, if you
Oh!
can catch the puck, and oh my goodness, Rebels, just trying to steal our hearts.
All right, so Axe Sven is just a devastating combo between the Berserker's Call and the Stormhammer. The extra armor that Axe gets from either or both of Axe and Sven's spells, the Warcry and once again the Berserker's Call. I really just don't know what Virtus.Pro are going to do in order to shut that down. They do have the negative armor coming out of the Slardar, but that comes nowhere near close enough to offset the extra armor that Axe gets. A Faceless Void Chronosphere could go a good deal in the right direction, but once again, Witch Doctor is physical damage, Wind Ranger is physical damage. Faceless Void does a bit of magical damage with Time Lock, but because he doesn't usually build for right-click speed,
10
he's not getting
seconds
that.
remaining.
They don't really have anything to knock Axe down other than
5
sheer
seconds
willpower.
remaining.
Right? It just seems like a really nice draft from Rebels, taking advantage of the lack of early game damage. And now, of course, I'm not saying that late game, obviously, as this progresses, Windrunner hits like a truck. The Slaughter can also start picking up a bit more damage, and so can folks like the Witch Doctor with the Aghanim Scepter, or of course the Midnight Pulse scales excellently into the game. Of course, pure damage and pierces spell immunity. But early on, if Axe jumps in, calls a bunch of them, Windrunner's gonna get ripped right through, so is Enigma, so is the Witch Doctor. It's scary.
Yeah, and the other thing there is that, sure, Virtus.Pro do scale into some damage, but bear in mind, the Wind Ranger, the reason she has damage is because of how fast she attacks under focus fire. And Axe, the faster you attack him, the more devastating he is. That is not necessarily a check mark in the column of "we're all set, boys" for Virtus.Pro. That's definitely a big question mark. As for its efficacy, Axe typically a pretty good counter into the Wind Ranger in general.
Okay, so guys, since we're paused, it's time to show you effigies. I've seen all of these since, of course, casting Rebels through the open qualifiers. I want to show you this beauty, which I don't even understand how this happens. The Rebels for Sharklow, he has this effigy. I'm pretty sure that's either Abaddon's or Disruptor's mounts legs. Like, it's very confusing. And that's definitely Tiny's Aghanim Scepter stick, and what I hope is an arm. Could be anything, guys. You never know with Tiny. So, yeah, it's, if you guys can figure it out, I'd love you to tell me what on earth this effigy is. Because I've been wondering for 4 days.
Wow, that is, that must have taken a heck of a lot of effort. I see a courier in there, I think. There's all sorts of stuff rammed in there.
Right?
Anyway.
I don't know how he got all of, because, I don't know, I'm not a big effigy fan. I'm also not a big, I'm not a big hat lover, but he's clearly doing
You're not
something.
a big effigy fan, but you're a big fan of that effigy.
Yeah,
I can tell.
I'm impressed, that skill, dedication, hard work. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's do some quick player introductions. We have got FNG playing up the Faceless Void again. Yoku playing the Slaughter again. Windrunner, Gods changing over, oh God, changing over to that one, God or G. What, guys, what, this business, standing right on top of a ward, they're just running over to their opponents. This is a smoke. Okay, so, one second, we'll break down what happened. This smoke is, you would never expect it, except VP did. Maybe it's happened in a scrim, maybe something else, but they stood there to break the smoke.
30 seconds to battle.
Oh, it's never a really... It's always a very high-risk play to smoke and then run up high ground somewhere. Mid lane, I guess, is the best high ground to have to breach because you can see it from the other side, so you have a general idea if your smoke will break while you're on the low ground before you siege it, but in general, you want to go all the way around one side or the other so that you never have to cross a staircase, right? And Rebel going to get absolutely nothing out of that smoke because they did break into high ground.
So continuing those intros, the Enigma Aloha Dance going to be playing that as he denies the range creep again mid. And finally, No Fear, who's blocking up this lane.
All right, and here for Rebels, we're going to have Lucifer in the flesh. It's Vanscore on the Doom. Sadoy is donning his knighthood on the Sven. Metpump is going to be taking the Disruptor. TMW is blinking around on that puck, and Shocklow is fighting you, bro, on the X.
Oh yeah, now, for those of you, a lot of teams have been running Axe in all different positions. There's actually a support Axe. It's more like, we're greedy, so we're going to have Axe farm, but this is actually going to be off lane, safe lane. He's playing the off laning role, but of course in the safe lane Axe. And against this lane, he could have a really good time. Obviously, he's going to be up against another melee hero most of the time, and you do expect Witch Doctor to maybe rotate somewhere else for a gank.
Yeah, this was very smart for Virtus.Pro, though. Last game, they got shut down largely because of that aggressive dual/tri lane into their Slardar, right? This time they sensed that was coming, and they just switched their lanes up. So both teams running aggressive dual lanes, and both lanes having their offlaner in their safe lane. Virtus.Pro learning from their mistakes of the past, and maybe this was one of the reasons why they felt more confident running a almost identical strategy as what lost them the last game. They felt like, well, we've got insider information this time around.
While we see how this one pans out, Axe, of course, also able to go to the jungle a little bit. In mid, Monsko looking for a good time to come in onto the Windrunner, and Puck actually getting quite heavily harassed here by Windrunner. Here it comes. There's the Doom we all know and love. Just gonna stand there, do a bit of damage to the Windrunner. We'll pan back to this lane in a little bit to see how it's turned out. While on bottom, as you said, Faceless Void, I mean, it seems like he's not having too hard of a time. Sven is up to 7 lost hits, but Faceless Void with the side pull. Oh, okay. Stormbolt, just to make sure he gets the creeps. Cute little play there by Sador.
Yeah, so it's okay if the Faceless Void's not having that great of a time, because he is technically their offlaner, and he's expected not to get that much. What's important here is that him being down here taking the sacrificial blow into this aggressive dual lane means that his team as a whole is getting more. And he honestly is getting more experience more safely out of this lane than his Slardar would be able to anyway. Right, so the offset there, I think, does work out in favor of Virtus.Pro. Compared to especially last game. Axe up top.
Yeah, someone's taking a lot of damage. He's in trouble. Maledict, of course. It looks like this will be our first blood. Sharklo going down to the Witch Doctor. Lost auto attack. Flying out there. And a nice little pick. That lane already going much better than a previous Slardar lane.
Yeah, most definitely this laning decision has gotten Virtus.Pro off to a better start than they had in the past. Doom now rotating up top. It looks like Axe wants to come in with his full health and grab a kill. Vanscore sees No Fear. No Fear sees him, I think.
Yeah, they should have seen each other there. Unfortunately, Vanscore doesn't have the Infernal Blade yet. Infernal Blade actually does a crap ton of damage, so it's really helpful to have that up, but he will not be able to really gap close and do too much until he hits that level 3.
Yeah. Axe is going to try to do a side pull. No Fear, not successful in stopping that. Actually, wow. Taking aggro on that creep, and it looked like trouble for a second. He has to throw out the stun and defensive.
Yeah, it's not going to be the full pull that he wanted. Yoku trying to give it a go. Oh, okay, we've got the supports being chased down respectively, but of course that's way scarier for the Witch Doctor. And it just looks like this will be a bit of a brawling lane. Axe starting to get a bit better CS. I also wanted to poke over to mid and take a look because Puck, Tame My Wild, has started to pull ahead.
Yeah, this is probably to be expected. A Puck is much harder to harass as a Wind Ranger in lane once he starts to get up that phase shift. The power shots are kind of phoned in from a distance, and Rebel TMW should have much less difficulty dodging them as maybe some other heroes' sustainable damage.
This is already a better game for the Enigma than last game. 4 minutes in, already level 5. A lot closer to the optimal Enigma play that we should be seeing coming out here from him. So, having a good time.
The Doom being forced up to the stop lane has really helped him tremendously. And Doom's still only level 3. So Rebel, honestly, not getting very much out of the map overall right now. The Sven is doing well in lane, but not any better than the Slardar. The question is which one of these two is going to have higher impact.
We've got the Infernal Blade coming out here, paralyzing cost, bouncing between the two of them. If Axe gets off a call here, though, it may just be enough. There are a couple creeps around, no spins. He only gets the one. Doom in a lot of trouble. There's going to be the lightning strike out onto Slardar, and he may no spin. Shaco not getting them in time. Yoku just with the salve up. Get on out of jail free card.
Yeah, that was... There were honestly, Yoku had no business getting out of there. Right, he, by dead to rights, should have been going down. With all those creeps attacking Axe as well, Axe even thought about cutting into the two of them there, but decided not to, move down from the high ground. Right, it's a 20% chance, and he probably got attacked a solid 20 times during that fight.
Lucky.
Yeah,
is
sometimes
pseudo?
You just don't get it.
Or...
yes, it is pseudo-random.
So, someone just got very unlucky there with the spins. And that'll happen. No Fear, of course, places up a ward, is able to see that Axe is jungling some. This is a nice move, too, because it means that Vanscore can get some solo experience in the lane when Axe doesn't feel like he needs to be there. Which will, of course, always really help out. Although we have an engagement in the mid lane. Paralyzing Kosk is thrown out. The focus fire as well. This Puck's in a lot of trouble, taking a lot of damage from the Maledict. He's going to have to use the phase shift to not die. And holy Hannah, Vanscore coming in with very little health. They need a sentry or something. No, they just deny their own ward. That works too. And Aloha Dance, since he's gotten the early level 6, he's coming in for the push.
If I can't have it, no one can have it on that ward. It had already served its usefulness. It existed, right, just to provide a bit of vision through that laning phase. And at this point in time, lanes are already cracking down into fights. No big core items coming out so far, but Sven is going for the Helm of the Dominator to open build, unless he decides to go into an armlet. I guess that's a possibility here, too.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many armlet Svens, but it wouldn't be unheard of with the buffs to armlet. Certainly something that can happen. I think a lot more folks prefer the Helm, of course, to stack the Ancients and then flash farm.
I would expect it to be a helm, but, you know, people do weird stuff when patches change over, especially when items get buffed. So,
Yeah, so let's see if they can get anything to happen. Both of these games really low kill, so I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, last game, okay, just as I say that, we're going in, he will have to just Chrono Spear, and then he time walks, but he doesn't catch Sadoy, and now the paralyzing cost bouncing around, there's the black hole, Sadoy in a lot of trouble, he manages to catch all three of them, this is a disaster. Aloha Dance going to be helping his team get a bunch of kills, only Vancecore able to walk it off.
that black hole could not have been more perfect. He grabbed 3 heroes at the optimal event horizon distance. If they'd gone any further away from that black hole, they would have escaped its gravity. Just perfectly executed by Aloha Dance. And that is going to offset that Sven's farm pretty substantially, which is important because up until that point, he was on top of the net worth by a fair margin, by a couple hundred. And Enigma is getting pretty close to having that mechanism done as well. By the time the next black hole is up, mechanism will be done. And Sadoy up top.
Okay, they do not get the call off. That wasn't.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
That was a weird failure to get call. Yeah, that seemed like that should have been a kill.
It was just on the edge. Happens to the best of us. He thought he was close enough. We've all done it. And hopefully for Rebels, this isn't just them getting a little bit, you know, sometimes you miss a couple skills here and there. They have a lot of members who have been in the scene for a long time, so I think you just rally yourself, get right back into it.
Yeah, for Rebel, like, they probably need a little bit of space to get the Sven, those 2 core items. Remember, he does okay in lane. Really, the magic number for him is 2. Once he gets up something in addition to that Helm of the Dominator, usually, once again, it's a Sanjinyasha. He may go into the new item we were talking about. The, God, it is called something. Echo Saber, thank you.
I, had no idea what you were talking about for a second. I was like, raindrops?
I also apparently didn't know what I was talking about. All the new item names just throw me.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's always fun when they drop a patch, for the open qualifiers. I was really glad I casted, because I needed, 4 days of casting to get the names. I was calling it Hurricane Lance.
Yeah, I also was making that exact same. I don't know why the 2 of us thought it was Hurricane Lance for
it
so
sounds
long.
better than Hurricane Pike. Anyway,
yeah.
I just don't like pikes, guys. Who wants to deal well with mounted forces? Either way, Sadoy, they get the time lock, they immediately... Okay, Death Ward's just coming out. Sadoy in a lot of trouble here. There's gonna be a glimpse backwards on whoever TP'd top, but it will not be enough to stop that kill. Doom on the sidelines, only level 5 though, doesn't have Doom, but here comes the puck, orbing forward, should be able to, no, does not jump forwards. Paralyzing Cask was thrown out, and we have some all over the place fighting. Faceless Void just gonna jump up and TP away, but that's a 4-man rotation by Rebels to get nothing.
Yeah, Rebels really not seeming to synergize nearly as well as they did last game, partially because it's more difficult to synergize when you're not getting off to an amazing start, right? So for Rebel, once again, I think they need to just kind of cool their jets until they get the Sven ready to go, until they get the Zax ready to go.
Puck is shackled in middle lane, but Windrunner not wanting to commit the focus fire, so...
Axe is getting really close to his Blink Dagger. Sven is not super far away from having up. It looks like drums will be the item of choice for him. I think that's a very reasonable call to get going faster because they do need him to get one more item before they can effectively start to take these fights. Is the Blink Dagger's not quite up on the puck yet either, or it's coming out to him. That's why. Maybe? Yeah, maybe. Not sure. Is Puck really just that far behind? But he only has 400 gold and no items?
I think he just finished a Veil Shoal. No, he just finished Boots. And he has a bottle on the courier.
Okay.
Yes, he
That's
is.
Something.
He isn't farming amazingly. Obviously,
Yeah.
after a couple of the kills involving the Windrunner, things not exactly going his way. And this is really odd. Tame My Wild has had a blast on Puck through the open qualifiers. It's a hero he's very good on. And obviously, they've done a good job of shutting him down. Only 48 lost hits.
Yeah, I mean, he's behind the Enigma in terms of net worth. He's barely ahead of his team's offlaner. He's really far behind.
Oh gosh, no fear coming in. There's the Death Ward again. This Witch Doctor just wrecking face. Vonsko in a lot of trouble. Metrum tries to Static Storm, is not going to save himself. Even the auto attacks will bring him down. They try to get the Enigma. At least they find something there. Can they get Yoku? They don't have Stormhammer up for 5 more seconds. And guess who's coming to town again with a Chronosphere? There it's going to be dropped by FNG, but they've got support coming around. There's a call at the ready on Shocklow. He needs to do something to FNG. He's out of mana. Has enough for one time walk. There it is. Going in onto No Fear. He'll get blown up. And that's about 1,000 gold suddenly in the pocket of the puck.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro overplaying their hand there. As soon as they took a kill and had used the Witch Doctor ultimate, everybody needed to just back up. There was not going to be the mana on the Enigma for both the Mechanism and the Black Hole in that fight, so there's no reason for him to go in, because he needs both in order to be really effective in a situation like that. For the Faceless Void, he's got no innate damage right now whatsoever. So dropping the Chronosphere without the Death Ward available, it's totally zero impact on that fight. All it did was drag it out a little bit and waste his cooldown. So Virtus.Pro engaging a little overconfidently, and that certainly helps Rebel out getting the, yeah, it is going to be the Echo Saber here for the Sven, by the way.
Nice. It has, for those of you who don't know, it takes the Oblivion Staff and the Ogre Club. Called an Ogre Club, I think.
Yes.
Doesn't look like a club. It's definitely
It looks like
an
axe. It used to be an Ogre Axe in Dota 1, so.
Copyright name changes. Oh yeah. Anyway, it's really helpful for Sven because a little bit of mana regen and of course those strength stats. We have both teams rotating top under the guise of smoke. So this fight could be super important.
Good time for the tactical puppy paws. Okay. The Black Hole is up.
Oh no, okay, here we go. Shackle doesn't actually connect, but the Black Hole hits onto all 3 of them. Aloha Dance, here's that Death Ward. Look at it go. Disruptor's dead. Tame My Wild. The Paralyzing Call still bouncing between them. Shackle gives up his life. But that was not the smoke Rebels were looking for. There is still a... Oh no, there's no Chronosphere. So this is just them diving for Sidoi. You're too near to trees. There's probably a Shackle with your name on it. You can see his positioning, trying to make sure he doesn't get hurt too hard. There will be a Doom. No, he just Infernal Blades. He does have Doom at the ready. Sidoi doesn't quite get shackled. Aloha Dance jumps in. There it is, the Puck Dream Coil. Sidoi wants to kill someone before he goes down, but cannot. They will lose the Enigma. Yoku jumps in and stuns them all, so they can't find any more. There's the glimpse back on Yoku, but he's not low enough, and he's not caught in the kinetic field. Shackle up onto Tame My Wild. They're pounding more damage. The Paralyzing Collect's just bouncing between the two, and the Chronosphere's back up because the team fight's been going on for so long. Everybody's gonna die on Rebels. They're TPing back in, but it doesn't matter. Doom just gets to Sandan looking sad. Finally, Axe gets a dunk. But out of 2 for 3, and people going down earlier, oh gosh, the jump on over by Yoku. It's gonna save his life, but that was not the fight they wanted.
That was okay. The Axe managed to salvage it a little at the end. In terms of what each team got out of that, obviously Virtus.Pro came out ahead, but oh, maybe they came out way ahead. Very impressive play by Yoki.
There we go. There's gonna be a call, but it won't be good enough. And that fight recap that you saw there, guys, it didn't include the initial kills in the Black Hole. So even though it looked like it was a 3 for 3, it was actually a 5 for 3. Because people had respawned.
I think it was a 4 for 3. I think Axe had respawned, yeah. So it didn't include the Axe kill, which probably
and the Disruptor kill, because Disruptor died twice.
Oh, did your fight recap also not show the Disruptor?
Yeah. So it was, he died twice, because he died in the initial Black Hole, and then he also TP'd back in, and unfortunately died again. Either way, glimpse back. Maybe they can catch the Witch Doctor. Yoku, he's thinking about it. He goes in with the stun. He wants to save his friend, but there it is, the Dream Quote, the Death Ward, going out onto Puck Illusions. Thank goodness it's not going to be enough. Tame My Wild goes down. They still haven't killed off No Fear, and he will finally get dunked there. There is no Black Hole. There is nobody going to get caught in the kinetic field. These kinetic fields just aren't coming up soon enough. Another stun onto Shocklow. Vonsko trying to help out his buddy, but in the Moonlight Pulse, they're going to go on Aloha Dance. Where are the spins? They're just not there. And Power Shot doesn't care about all of your armor. They throw out the Sven stun, but this constant fighting is not favoring Rebels. They need more items, and it looks like they're going to probably lose at least the Disruptor. Windrunner just pounding through him. And a 4 for 1 and a T1 tower.
Yeah, I said it 4 minutes ago, I said it 3 minutes ago, I stand by it until Sven gets up his next item. Rebel have no business fighting. And also, the Puck absolutely needs to be saving the Stream Coil for when the Witch Doctor ult goes down. Almost every single one of these fights comes down to No Fear is a goddamn baller. And his Witch Doctor ults have been just erasing at least one hero every single fight, with or without the Chronosphere to help. He has been totally on point, and the Puck Stream Coil could be the solution to that if TMW were a little more patient with it. And a little bit less aggressive. He is going to probably go down here.
Yeah, Puck going to fall. Nothing they can do. And Team My Wild, we were talking about how he was having a rough game before. 17 minutes in, still no blink.
Jeez, look at the scores, though. No Fear sitting at 8, 2, and 7 as a hard 5 support Witch Doctor this game. This guy is out of control.
I think he should have made a Midas. I think he should have made a Midas or just Aghanim Scepter rush. Because nothing is stopping him. Easy Roshan. Chronosphere catches Vonsko on the edge. There is also Enigma at the ready. Has the black hole. And it's not looking good for Vonsko. They have the blink up on Axe, but he doesn't have the blade mail yet. And he might try for this, but he needs some serious backup. And there's just no one alive. Puck?
I was just going to say, Echo Saber's done on the Sven, but at this point in time, they fed away so much disadvantage that it's not enough, even though the Sven gets going with 2 items.
Oh gosh, they've jumped in onto
Jeez.
Tame My Wild and nobody can save him. Chronosphere is down, but Puck already being brought down. The Shocklow tries to use the creep wave to his advantage. It's not quite looking like enough. Solo black hole onto Shocklow. There's no fear, he doesn't have the Death Ward for once in his life, but Sadoy, the Sven, just being brought down. There it is, the Static Storm, but it's not enough to save his Sven. Disruptor's dead as well. I don't want to say it's over, but we got to start talking about high ground defense.
Yeah, we need to start talking about high ground defense, and we need to start talking about communication, because game number 1, Rebel were just... They were like stitches in a knot, right? They were together every step of the way. They were always moving in synchronicity. And you're just not seeing that this game. They really seem like 5 people with similar goals instead of a team. They're going in 1 or 2 at a time constantly. They're kind of ducking into fights after the fight has already been lost consistently. At a certain point, you just have to let the puck go and move on with your lives.
Now there's a glimpse back onto the Slaughter. They'll see what they can do, but they just don't have the damage, and their range racks, 19 minutes in, looking like it's going to be going down. Battle Hunger thrown out. They'll protect their range racks, but it is, of course, getting very low. The catapult is still hitting it, so this range rack might still go down. It's actually going to go down because they can't destroy the catapult in time. There is the blink in, the Rigu's coming out, the shackle between the 2 of them. They're both dead. There's no escape here.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that we're looking at the GG. A 19-minute racks in this patch is almost unheard of fast, right? You just don't see it that often, and very rarely do you see a comeback from this sort of momentum. We're looking at, wow, over 15,000 net worth advantage at sub 20 minutes.
It's probably actually closer to the 20, right, when this thing, when the Groff finishes calibrating.
It can't even, it can't even update fast enough to deal with all of the...
Oh, Axe gets the call onto No Fear, but there is the Chronosphere at the ready. He's doesn't even need to cost it. They pick off Disruptor. There's the Chronosphere for Shocklow, and there's just no one to do anything.
Yeah, we're looking at 3 core items.
Oh no, Tane My Wild, he gets caught out, and the bashes! Will he be able to escape? No such luck. Vonsko gonna be the next one. Sven is desperately trying to farm their jungle, but all of his teammates are dead. Their respawn timers are so low. The saving grace is that they have tier 2s and even tier 1s up in top lane.
Sven is acting how I act when the game is over in pubs and your team you just want to get into the next pub. You just go into the jungle and farm and just wait for the game to end. Like, in the jungle, he did get a blink dagger up, so a 3rd core item. That's nice. Puck still doesn't have a blink dagger to his name, which is at 20 minutes and your 2nd set of racks falling. Pretty much a 0 impact Puck. He just is unable to get into these fights in any effective manner.
Yeah, there's Okay, we have the Doom, so at least there'll be no black hole. And now there's the God Strength Kinetic Field onto 2. These will be 2 huge kills for them. They managed to get the dunk as well. Enigma still being chased away. There's no Chronosphere to worry about since Faceless Void is dead. And the Dream Coil onto Enigma. This is the big turnaround they needed. Rebels is probably going to get at least 3,000 gold for this. Not sure they can catch the Windrunner. She does have a blink at the ready. Sven also has one, but all of these cooldowns happening around the same time. And there will be the Stormbolt. She can't blink away because of the Battle Hunger. Can they get this huge Windrunner? There's the dunk. But of course she has the Aegis. Slaughter buys back. It's trying to come out and help her. We're seeing what we can do. They've blown up the Witch Doctor. And Windrunner with the immediate blink away, but they glimpse her back. Never mind. She just Windrun away.
That Witch Doctor is both the easier kill and the more important kill because of his dominating streak. Right? This guy's been out of control. So turning on to the Witch Doctor was the right call there. That's actually way bigger than it should be, right? Like, that one little swing fight ends up being probably all things said and done, 5,500 to 6,000 net worth swing. Finally some core items coming up. Puck just finished a Veil, and is close to a Blink Dagger on top of it. Sadoy, just out of that fight, got about 2,000 net worth into his name. They are down to racks, but they have a Sven to deal with the cleave. They're not necessarily out of it yet, but it is still an uphill fight for them.
Yeah, it's a really, really rough game. There's a smoke. They know that someone's farming in the jungle. Whether they find the axe, though, that's another story entirely. We do not see... Okay, Rebel... Oh, okay, there's the scan. They know that someone's behind the tower. Tame My Wild might be in a lot of trouble. They haven't used their scan, though, on the Dire, and oh, okay. They are seen here, so Tame My Wild should be able to just... Yeah. Oh gosh, he's so close. What is he doing? What is he doing? No, Tame My Wild! Okay, he's gonna be fine.
Yep.
He's just gonna make it okay.
Get that yakety sax out. That was... Even with the scan honestly was... It worked against Virtus.Pro because they just assumed that somebody that got caught in that scan would be way back in the woods, but he was just on the edge of it, right next to his tower. The scan actually saved him my Wild's life, probably. Down bottom.
Yeah, they will maybe find themselves a T1, but no, that won't be happening. Both heroes end up dead, and Sven, as you saw, who was farming so well. Well, he's gonna be dead. He does have buyback. Another thing we should be looking at. No fear. Yeah, he maybe will get picked off. He's been glimpsed backwards. Not the easiest of help for them. There's the Battle Hunger. He doesn't manage to quite get the call off. It's not in range. This is not what Shaklo wanted.
Let's get that yakety sax back out, because it looks like this is going to be a long chase.
Yeah, and while this is happening, they're going to end up losing their racks, most likely. The Puck and the Axe have to work together to take out No Fear. It's a big kill. I was trying to pull up this graph, but unfortunately, they will lose their racks, and immediately the buyback... That's a full lane of racks for a Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
Worth.
A full lane of racks for a Witch Doctor, who, by the way, it got a return kill with Maledict. So it's not even like...
Oh, okay. Oh. There's the Shackle onto Shaklo, and he will die. There's a Doom onto... Okay, we have a buyback on the Axe. Puck jumping in with the silence onto the Windrunner. Sadoy gonna finish her off. Enigma also, unfortunately, on the high ground. And Slaughter working onto Disruptor. There's a call, so No Fear will be in a dieback situation. And it looks like they should be able to take down the... Oh no, Black Hole. Doesn't matter. They don't have Chronosphere, but it doesn't matter. The Black Hole is too big. These three heroes, maybe not enough to bring down the rest. Sadoy trying to work in on someone. Doesn't have Stormbolt for another 5 seconds. With the time dilation getting harder and harder. There's the Echo Saber doing good work. 10 seconds on that Stormbolt, and the stun onto Sadoy. He goes down. He does have buyback, as does the Doom. Puck still trying to be as slippery as possible. He has an orb. He'll just blink. Oh gosh, that was not where I think he meant to go. And the Chronosphere will stop him from orbing away.
That first hit time lock really screwed with Puck there. I think he was expecting to be able to just zip on out of there. Certainly did not work. There are 2 buybacks available, but no buyback on the Puck. Not that that's really been that big of a contributing factor to the fights, to be quite honest. He does now finally have his Blink Dagger and his Veil of Discord up, so he's got maybe items that you would expect between 16 and 20 minutes up at 26 minutes. It's something. Unfortunately, he got it up as his 3rd lane of racks is falling.
They are murdering people in the fountain. Will they even be able to kill the Slaughter? He's just gonna run away from them. It's not something they can even do, and now they're working on their last set of racks, but oh no, Sadoy caught out by this Winder on a Slaughter, thinking about coming back in, doesn't have enough mortar for a Slithering Crush, and here we go. There is going to be a call from Sharklaw, but is it enough? It doesn't look like it. Sharklaw getting very low, beautiful shackle between the two of them. God picks off one, we'll pick off another. Sadoy is down, no buyback on him. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is finally the GG Death Ward killing off Tame My Wild, who also gets shackled. There it is. 26-minute GG from VP, who showed they just needed a game to warm up.
Yeah, that is... Wow. Rebel showed us in game 1 that they were willing to come in aggressively. They were willing to try to bend the advantage to the maximum efficiency. And Virtus.Pro came in game 2 with the same strategy into the same basic strategy and said, fool us once, shame on us. But fool on, you ain't gonna fool us again. In the good words of our former president.
Well played there, Gorgon. Either way, folks, the next game up on this stream is going to be No Diggity, sorry. Llama's awake. I swear I'm awake. Sorry, up next we'll have Polarity versus No Diggity. This one should be super interesting as well. A lot of people thinking that No Diggity, I think No Diggity one of the heavy favorites to actually take this entire qualifiers, so I'm very interested to see how that one will go. But we have a bit of a wait since that one doesn't start for about another hour. I'll be joined by Scant because Gorgon needs to go prepare for his own America's matches. What channel will you be casting those on?
Hey guys, if you want to catch Dota America's matches, swing on by twitch.tv/gotcow or follow me on Twitter @TheWonderCow for updates on when that stuff's going live.
Yeah,
y'all.
He will be casting America's, as I mentioned. I believe you're doing, are you Enemy or are you doing the Infamous game?
I am doing the Infamous game today,
Infamous versus Evanova S, which is the Demon Squad. So you should all check that out when Gorgon gets live. He's the official Valve cast, so you can find it through Valve's website as well. We here will be going into Polarity versus No Diggity in about an hour. Scansor will be joining us. And once again, Gorgon, thank you so much for joining me. As you can see, you can follow him on Twitter. Got his handle on the screen. I'm Llama Down Under. Any feedback on how he can make the casting better for you? And with that, guys, we'll be going to a break. Enjoy the music. I believe that PR versus Kaipi is going on right now. Or I could be wrong. There's another game, I think, that has begun. So you can watch that while you wait. Oh, okay, wait. Polarity versus No Diggity is already hosted, so I'll just jump over to that. I'll show you the lobby. So peace out, guys.